great to have you all here with us this morning. This is our Pike County 4-H Life Skills Virtual Day Camp. Today our topic is meal prepping with Miss Heather Jackson, and I am going to send it over to her and let her get started, and we are glad to have you here.
Thank you, Christina. Okay, I want to share my screen with you real quick. And we're going to start with an icebreaker, if you will, just in the chat box. If you could have one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Taters. Yum, most definitely. Carbonara pasta, that sounds so delicious. Subway sandwiches. Yes. Oh, I could eat Subway every day. Dr. Pepper, that's my weakness. Does anybody else have anything? Okay, so let's move on into our presentation. We're going to talk about Meal Prep 101. So, what supplies do you need? What are some good recipes? I'm going to share the basics with you so you can get started meal prepping healthy, delicious meals and become a meal prep pro. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is, why meal prep? Meal prepping saves us time by spending just a little time preparing meals at the beginning of the week, and we will spend less time cooking during the busy work week and the school week. We can also save money by meal planning by not having to buy a ton of varied ingredients for different meals each night. And meal prepping also helps us eat healthier with pre-portioned meals made of healthy choices. So we are more able to follow healthy guidelines and stay on track. So the next thing we need to address is deciding what kind of prepper you will be. There are three main types of preppers. The full-on prepper, they prepare every breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner for every day of the week for every family member. A partial prepper, which prepares the same as the full-on prepper, but does it for only 3 to 4 days at a time, having 2 prep days a week, or they prepare only certain meals such as breakfasts and lunches, but cook other meals how they normally would. And then the ingredients prepper. It prepares just the ingredients ahead of time and cooks all the meals how they normally would, but saves time because of pre-cut and pre-measured ingredients. Personally, I'm a partial prepper. I normally only prep for breakfasts and lunches, and then I cook at night for dinner. Do you already prep meals? If you do, you can just put that in the chat box. So the next step is to pick a prep day. If your weekdays are really busy, then a weekend day might be for you. Many people aim for Saturday or Sunday afternoons. I personally like Sunday afternoons. Next, you'll want to make a meal plan. To make one, write down what you're planning to eat for all your meals for the entire week. This will help you know what you're going to have so you don't have to stress about deciding what to make. It will also help you know what to buy when you go grocery shopping. Before meal planning and grocery shopping, it is important to take an inventory of what you already have in your fridge, freezer, and pantry. See if you can make some of those ingredients work instead of buying new things. You may have to alter your recipes to do this, but it can utilize what you already have and save you from buying more ingredients that you don't need. Once you know what kind of prepper you are, pick a prep day. Have a meal plan and have your groceries. It's time to prep. It is important to set aside adequate time and space to prep. Set the mood and make it fun by listening to music, a podcast, or watching videos. If you have someone to help you prep, that's awesome. But if your family members are more likely to be a distraction, maybe the kitchen is off limits during prep time. It may be difficult at first and take a little more time than you thought, but with practice, you'll become a pro in no time. So don't give up. Prepare things together like chop all your vegetables, or prepare all the meat, or measure all the ingredients. Don't try too many new recipes at one time. Just try one or two and keep the rest of the meals your favorite recipes you're already comfortable with doing. Get all your appliances going at once to get everything cooked in the shortest amount of time. You don't have to cook everything. Choose some cold foods like salads, fruit, and chopped vegetables and dip. Let food you do cook cool before putting the lid on and putting them in the fridge, and that will prevent your food from getting sweaty and turning soggy. So you need to follow the My Plate method. Make half your plate fruits and vegetables, half 1 serving of lean protein, 1 serving of grain or whole grain or starchy vegetable, and make 1 serving low-fat dairy. Make sure to measure serving sizes so they are the correct portion for you. Use a food scale or measuring utensils to do this. Over-consuming healthy food is still bad for you. Make sure to get enough protein, especially at breakfast and snacks. Often people choose high-carb, high-sugar breakfasts and snacks, and then they end up being hungry before it's time for the next meal. Getting enough protein can help you stay fuller longer. You don't have to spend a ton of money on fancy meal prep containers, but whatever you have at home will probably work. Reusable food containers like the ones with butter and sour cream that come in, those containers that they come in, and the plastic baggies work too. You can also purchase some food saver containers and even small ones made for snacks, dips, and salad dressing. As long as it keeps your food safe and fresh, the container doesn't have to be fancy. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them right now. You can unmute if you would like, and I'll stop sharing. And then I meant to bring some containers today for you to see, but how many of you have like Rubbermaid containers at home?
I do.
You.
I have a question.
Okay.
So when you're prepping vegetables, say something like lettuce ahead or celery, stuff that has a lot of water content, what is the best way to store those to keep them for longer during the week?
So particularly, I try to hold back on my lettuce and stuff like that and prep it like the night before, just because it has so much water and it loses that water retention when you start cutting it. I also have seen people put paper towel on top of, like if they have a salad, put a paper towel on top of it and it absorbs the water. But I get kind of frustrated if there's paper towel fuzzies in my salad, so I just do it the night before.
So when you say the food should be let it cool, does it need to be cool before it's put in the fridge, or can it still be slightly warm? Can you expound on that?
So typically when you cook food, you have a time frame for cooling. That's 6 hours, and you want to, within your first 2 hours, get it to below that 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And once you get below that, and you want to probably be to the 120 in the first 2 hours. And once you are down to like 4 hours, you probably could put it in, because by the time you've already separated your food into different bowls, and that's a cooling method. But when you put it in the fridge and it's still hot, it gets condensation because it's trying to like cool it down, and that steam doesn't have anywhere to go, so it stays inside the bowl. But another problem with putting your food in when it's too warm, it can change the temperature inside your fridge, and your food can spoil.
Okay. What about, is there any local thing like businesses or anything like that? What do you have things available to help with meal prepping? What are those what can somebody look for in their local area to help them learn how to meal prep?
I know, like with Extension Service, we have lots of My Plate tips, and we actually have the My Plate printouts that shows how to build your plate, which last summer we used the NASCO rubber food and we built our own plates with the clover buds. But there's a lot of good extension resources with UAEX that has a lot of meal prepping recipes, and they're all healthy and they're yummy. I haven't had a bad one yet, so I'm pretty convinced that they're all delicious. But if anybody has any other questions, they can feel free to email me. How would you use meal prepping? Do you think you would use it today, like to make your own meals, like every lunch? Like, would you want to try to be a full-on prepper or like a partial prepper?
I do partial prepping. I don't know. I do breakfast because that's one of the most time-consuming meals to make. So I pre-prep a breakfast meal that's easy grab and go, and that definitely has saved a lot of money and time in the mornings. And I'm very interested in putting into use some of the tips that you gave for